So would you like a little bit of heaven on earth? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you my roadmap back to sanity when everything goes kind of crazy in the world around me. I'm sure it happens to all of us. Something outside of our control drives us crazy, whether it be something at work or something at home. Things just kind of can get into our minds and we start going crazy. And yet Jesus tells us that the kingdom of heaven is within, and he tells us that it is at hand. So it's something that we can have right now, and we can experience it within ourselves. So to me, there's something here that says, if I'm not experiencing heaven on earth, well, there's something that I can do for myself to actually help me get there. And the roadmap that I have found very useful is the model of the New Jerusalem in the book of Revelation. See, over the years, a lot of people have realized that this heavenly city isn't a place, but it's a description of people. We have a lot of metaphor in Scripture between people and places. And in fact, Scripture says that God is going to marry the New Jerusalem. Well, he's not going to marry a building now or a city. So it's a metaphor for us. And what I do is I turn to 18th century philosopher, scientist, and theologian Emanuel Swedenborg to kind of enlighten me on the details, because once I start knowing the details of this city, then I can kind of compare it to where my mental state is and see where I'm going wrong and seeing, well, why am I not experiencing heaven on earth? Oh, because, I haven't built a very good city. So let's dig into this thing and see how this all shakes out. It says the city has 12 foundations, and they all have the name of one of the apostles on them. So, well, the apostles, they're teachers of the gospel, right? They're promoting Jesus's message. They're putting out his teachings. And there's 12 of them. And in Scripture, 12 means like a whole set, the complete set of something. So if you had 12 baseball cards in Scripture, well, you'd have every single baseball card in the set. It's about a complete set. So if the city is built on 12 foundations of the apostles, it's meaning that it's built on all of Jesus's teachings. And they're decorated with precious stones, so these teachings are truths that look beautiful when lit up with God's light. So an angel then comes along and he measures the city with a golden rod. Well, he measured out, it says 12,000 stadia, breadth, length, and height. Well, the side-to-side dimension is about truth or wisdom. So this mind has the whole range of wisdom, has the whole range of love, and when love and wisdom are the same length, the height makes it a square. Well, square is about being justice, or having justice, right? You've heard this term, we got to get square. I squared up with a person. Well, it's about justice, because if it's not square, well, your walls lean over, they tip to one side or the other. And for justice to be square, it has to be as wise as it has to be compassionate. So the city is made like that, and it's 12,000. So it's complete wisdom, complete love, complete justice. It's the whole set of it. Now you'll also notice, just kind of as an observation here, 12,000 stadia is roughly 1,500 miles or 2,300 kilometers. So it gives you also an indication that this city isn't literally real. Like it's, to be that many miles high, to be 1,500 miles high, you can't put that on the planet. So, this is clearly a metaphor. Now, the walls and the city are made of pure gold. Now, gold is about a very, very high kind of love, the highest kind of love you can have, and it represents that because, well, it doesn't tarnish. It's very malleable. Think about, loving people are very flexible. Gold is also a great conductor. Well, guess what? What does love do? It conducts its love to other people. It transfers it to other people. So gold has this symbol, and so this heavenly mindset is based on Jesus' teachings, made of gold, pure love. It's wise, it's loving, and it's just. So you're starting to get the picture now. Well, when we get a little bit more into it, it's got 12 gates. So there's every possible way to get in, and they're made of pearls. Well, what are pearls? Well, we get a couple of examples of pearls in the Gospels. One is Jesus says, don't throw your pearls before swine. And another, he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant who seeks for pearls, and he sells everything he has to get it. Now, as I understand it, like the pearl is a thing that you find in life that motivates you to explore spirituality further. You know, what is it that excites you about spirituality? Maybe it's about life after death. Maybe it's a belief that, you know, good things come to those who follow God. Well, I don't know, whatever it is that excites you about spirituality, that is your pearl. And you give up materialism and worldliness and you give up everything else to have that pearl. And that pearl becomes your gate, your pathway into the holy city. It helps you explore spirituality to a much greater extent. And so then it says that the nations will walk by its light. No day will the doors ever be shut, and there's no night there. Well, what's night? Well, when things are dark, it's fearful, right? You're afraid of things going wrong because that's when the murders and the rapes and the burglaries and all that kind of stuff happens. So there's no darkness there. It's always lit up by God, and you don't ever have to be afraid when you're in this state. Nothing impure ever enters this city, so no deceitfulness, no shamefulness, no immorality. None of that enters this mindset. When you go into the city, it yields fruit every month. There's 12 months, so it yields fruit no matter what the season is. No matter what's going on, it's bearing fruit. Now Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches, and what do? We bear fruit. So it's about the good actions that we do. So no matter what's going on, we're always putting something forward. We're always creating something. And this tree also has leaves that are for the healing of the nation. So no matter what's going on, we are offering the wisdom that we have, the perception that we have to other people to help them come to this heavenly mindset as well. And in the end, it says there's going to be no more curse and that all of us will be serving God. And it's just this idea, kind of like Garden of Eden, where we are with God, God is with us, we're all one happy family, and everything's peaceful and wonderful. So, that's a really quick overview, keeping in mind that, God's at the center on his throne, so it's a God-centric life, and from him comes the water of life, the truth that feeds the tree, that makes the fruit and the leaves. So it all depends on having God at the center. But I find this whole thing useful because I can kind of check on myself and say, well, what am I getting wrong? Am I fearful? Am I worried? Well, sounds like there's darkness there, and I need some light. I need to turn the light, and where does the light come from? By pointing towards God. Because as long as I'm with him, I don't have anything to be afraid of. Or maybe it's something else where I'm feeling like I'm not trusting, right? Something like that. I'm not trusting things are going to work out. Or it could be I'm having thoughts in my mind that are deceitful, that are shameful, that are immoral and impure. All those kind of thoughts. I've let them into my gates. I can go wrong with that and go, all right, well, I'm allowed to let things in, but I'm not allowing those things in. How many times has my mind gone on about impure things? Well, it happens all the time. So those are kind of ideas we can use to say, all right, well, how is my mind not currently in a heavenly state, and how can I change it? Scripture gives us some examples too. Like, for example, Adam and Eve, they were very loving and innocent, but what did that get them? It got them tricked. They were deceived by the serpent, so that loving dimension was very strong, but they didn't have the wisdom. So what happens? Booted out of paradise. In this case, booted out of that heavenly state. Same thing, well, the opposite thing with Cain and Abel. Cain kills Abel. So Cain's wise, but not very loving. He wants to be right, but he's not very nice. Where did that get him? Booted out of his living too. And eventually, in the flood story, all of Cain's descendants perish. So that's no good either. We can keep going through this. Well, is your love malleable? Are you flexible? Are you forgiving? Does your love continue on to other people? We can use these stories throughout, or you can use this analogy, this metaphor throughout all of our mental processes and all of our mental state to see where we're getting it right and where we're getting it wrong. I think a lot of us, myself included, I just miss those foundational principles. Am I setting my whole life up on Jesus' teachings? Forgive. Love your enemies. Forgive 70 times 70, right? Pick up your cross and follow me. And it goes on and on and on. we can ask ourselves, are we being hypocritical? That's one of Jesus' things. Don't be a hypocrite. So I hope you get the idea. I hope you find this useful, because for me, having the New Jerusalem as a roadmap to mental peace, to my own personal sanity, has been a very useful tool. So if you've got any, experience with this, or you want to try it out, feel free. I'd love to hear in the comments what you get out of it. And if you want to see other stuff about mental sanity, a popular video I've done is on David and Goliath and how we defeat the head bullies. If nothing else, God bless you on your journey. Thanks for watching.